My name is Rebecca Huff. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of a company called Evatran. And at Evatran, we are focused on becoming the leading provider of high-power wireless charging technology. To start us off, raise your hand if you know what these cars are on the slide behind me. Couple, maybe 20%? All right, what are they?
All right.
That's right, they're electric cars. So first I'll say that I've been giving this presentation or something like it for about 2 years. 2 years ago, I might get one hand in an audience of 100. So we're at least making progress with awareness. So these are electric cars. That means that you have to physically plug them into the electric grid, and then they run either predominantly or completely off electricity from the electric grid in order to move or in order to get you where you need to go. These cars, this is the Nissan Leaf, the Chevy Volt, and if you've been watching recently, a lot of press about the Tesla Model S. And these cars have been out there for about 2 years, the Model S a little bit less, and at this point there are 50,000 of these three vehicles on the road. These are the leading EVs out there. Now, a lot of press going on about, well, are they successful? They're not successful. We spent too much money. The government spent too much money on encouraging the adoption of these cars. And instead of kind of try to refute that, and before I get asked questions, I'm just going to give you some data. So what you're looking at is the adoption curve of conventional hybrids. Conventional hybrids are like the plug-in Prius, the Lexus hybrid, the SUV hybrid, if you've seen that. They don't plug in. They get electricity from regenerative braking, and that helps make them more efficient. So this is the adoption curve. So what I'm going to show you here is over the first about 5 years, pretty steady adoption, and then a shoot up after about the 6th year. So let's now look at EV adoption. So the straight line or the non-dashed line is actual sales for the last 2.5 years. The dotted line is projected going forward. So if you're looking back at conventional hybrid adoption and think about how many conventional hybrids you see out there on the road, how many Priuses you see out there on the road, we're tracking at about double the adoption rate of those cars. So before you get into are they successful, why are we spending so much money, this is just some data that I wanted to bring with me. And that's good news, because electric vehicles bring a lot of benefits to the table. The biggest one you hear about is environmental reasons. So upper right-hand corner, decreased emissions for driving an electric vehicle versus driving a traditional gasoline-powered vehicle. But there are other reasons as well, so it's really a bipartisan push to get these electric vehicles out there. National security reasons, you also have diversity of energy resources, so you can be talking about using renewable energy, not just different energy like coal or natural gas. And then also transportation cost savings. So it costs about 3 cents per mile to travel on electricity versus about 12 cents per mile to travel on gasoline. So pretty significant cost savings in terms of per mile transportation. So it sounds good, right? Pretty good adoption. We're on the way with these cars. There's been some pretty good, pretty sexy cars released with the Tesla Model S and the other cars. What's the problem, right? So this is my favorite green products example, and I know we're here today to talk about social entrepreneurship and creating solutions for different social problems. And under that umbrella, we really start to think about green products and sustainable products and sustainability, and that's what my company is all about. So I do a lot of research and a lot of reading. It's a personal interest and also a professional interest on green product launches. I like the marketing of these products. And again, raise of hands, anyone know what this bag is about? Oh, wow, more people know this bag than electric cars. So this bag was launched, what, 2 years ago maybe, and this is just one of my favorite green product examples. This is a bag that was developed by Frito-Lay. Great innovation. They were seeing research from their different groups that they were getting studies from saying, we want green products. We'll give up things. We'll pay more. We'll do whatever you want. Just give us sustainable green products. So Frito-Lay turned around and came up with very great innovation. It's a completely biodegradable bag. So you put this in the ground, you drop it on the ground. After, I believe it's 6 to 9 months, it completely biodegrades. There's no remnants left from this bag. Really great solution, same cost. They put it on the market for the same cost as the original packaging. Great, right? So didn't turn out so great. So after 3 months, they actually pulled this packaging from the market. Anyone know why? Too loud. Consumers complained about how loud this bag was to eat from. So they actually ended up pulling it from the market. I love the example, but it's a humorous example, but it really shows you what we see with green products overall, that even though consumers say they want them, you really have to make them comparable to the traditional good, and then they'll pick the green product. That's really an overall green products finding. So we then go back to electric vehicles, and this is where my company comes in. So as you start to think about electric vehicle adoption and how we scale this beyond just our early adopter crowd, you start to think about the plug-in process. So these cars, again, you have to physically plug them in. Not only do you have to physically plug them in, but you have to do it multiple times per day, at least once per day, if not multiple times. It can take anywhere from 2 hours to 8 hours or 12 hours to recharge the batteries. So if you forget to do it at night when you've got groceries or books in your hands, there's no waking up in the morning and stopping by the gas station in order to get to work. It's something that you really have to commit to, which gets us back to our green products of what you have to give up for these electric vehicles and questioning how that's going to affect the adoption curve over the next 5 years as we get past the early adopters. So this is where we come in. Evitran is developing a technology we call plugless power, which is a wireless, totally convenient recharging system for electric cars. Once you have our system integrated into your car, you can pull over our station and automatically begin recharging. It requires absolutely no interaction, no buttons, no cords to plug in, no levers to pull. How it works, left side of the screen, you're seeing our vehicle component. So we're using both aftermarket channels and direct to automotive manufacturer channels to integrate these into cars. On the right side, you're seeing our station. Now this is just a industrial design image, but what happens is you got the control panel on your garage wall, parking pad on the floor of your garage. We pair your car to your station, so when you get within 50 feet of your home, the station comes alive, welcomes you home, gives you alignment guidance. You park in the position, turn off the car, and the system automatically starts charging. We focus on power levels about a 1 kilowatt or higher. Our system that we're coming to market with is about 3.3 kilowatts. So we're talking about a lot of power here. This is my most proud slide. So the traction, what have we actually been doing? We've been developing the system for about 2 years now, coming out of technology out of old line electrical transformer manufacturing company. And this is just some logos of the different companies who have trialed our system, who we're working with to talk about OEM integration projects. We just announced a pretty sizable grant from the Department of Energy to work with manufacturers to integrate this technology into vehicles. So this is something that OEMs or automotive manufacturers are really seeing as a way to increase the adoption and get into that next market segment outside of the early adopters. Another proud slide. So we just started production. We manufacture the product in southwestern Virginia, which is surprising to a lot of our West Coast electric vehicle companies. And we've got over 400 reservations at this point, about 450, and we'll start shipping to individual Nissan Leaf and Chevy Volt owners in May. So it's an exciting time for us. We've got some good distribution relationships, so we are talking about nationwide distribution at this point. So with both Bosch and Sears, they'll distribute and install our product for users nationwide. Last slide here, I mentioned automotive and our push really to bring electric vehicles into the mainstream. Looking at both aftermarket, which is all within our control, lower volumes, but we have speed to market on our side. We're also looking at an OEM integrated model, which means that you could walk into your dealership and say, I'd like the leather seats and the nav system and wireless charging, so you really get into volume there, but obviously it takes a little bit longer to work with our somewhat inflexible automotive OEMs across the country and world. And then the third piece is alternative applications. So this technology not only works for electric vehicles, but it really works for any electronic that takes about 1 kilowatt or more of power. So electric forklifts, electric buses, military applications, naval applications, medical equipment. So we're really looking at how we take this technology and then scale it up into other market segments. And that's it.
Can I ask a couple of questions? This is great.
Thank you.
Can I ask a couple of questions just on the model before we go on to
Sure.
Tom? How long does it take to charge, say, a Leaf with your technology?
Takes the exact same amount of time. So
Okay.
for a leaf, you're talking about from 240 volt power, you're talking about between 6 and 8 hours.
So you do it overnight, basically?
Yep, you do it overnight,
Okay.
and our system is the same amount of time.
Okay. And then next, is that, I've been reading and hearing about wireless charging for 3 or 4 years now. So is there an example of wireless charging? Is there, for example, a wireless charging of a mobile phone system that's up and running?
There are.
Could
There
you
are.
actually buy a wireless charging something?
Yes, right now you can buy a power mat system. Some of you probably have them. So they work for your cell phone. A lot of the cell phone manufacturers already have them as options for their phone.
Anyone have one, incidentally?
Oh, maybe not.
Anyone have? You
Oh,
do, right?
A couple up front.
Good.
Yep, so that's very similar technology to ours, but what's special about our technology is the high amount of power, and
Okay.
we work over about a 6-inch air gap. So you're
Okay.
actually talking about power transferring through thin air versus setting a system on a pad.
Okay. And this is, what sort of, I mean, you've mentioned some of the applications just now. Do you think there'll be other, these are kind of quite heavy applications, forklift trucks, things like that. Do you think there are going to be other consumer applications too? Household applications?
Potentially. You know, for us, we really play in the high power space.
Okay.
So the only things you could think about would be clothes dryers, anything that, if you think about a 240 volt outlet, but for us, it's convenience. So, you know, technologies like those don't necessarily need a way to conveniently recharge because they always sit in the same spot.
Fascinating. Very interesting.
So the system, we have about a $1,000 premium to conventional corded systems. So those systems run anywhere from about $1,000 to $1,800, and our price point's right around $2,500.
What, by the conventional ported system, you mean the unit that you would buy to stick?
plug in.
Okay, got it.
That's
Fine.
right.
Got it. Good. I'm sure there'll be more questions. Tom?
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Murray. Does anybody know what happened in 1765 on this day?
1760. Wait a second. 1760. Here in Williamsburg or anywhere in the world? Right.
Taxation without representation. I think it's kind of funny that right first time to William and Mary, no one has said that today.
Wow.
But I'm very happy to be here. I'm Tom Murray from a company called Eco. And what we do is quite revolutionary in that we save the rainforest in, we save the rainforest in what we call 1 meter at a time. I was never a tree hugger. I never was a member of Greenpeace. I actually did a lot of different things. I was in technology. I was in real estate development. And in 2005, a couple of friends of mine and I went down to Panama on the behest of one of our older friends who was an investor and had done a lot of work in Costa Rica. We realized there was a huge opportunity in Panama, so we put together our first private equity real estate fund. And in the process of looking So we do licensing and we call brand activation. Companies will go to us and they will use our artwork and our concept. For instance, one of the biggest companies is a company called SEcon. It's a 100-year-old Swiss company that makes these aluminum water bottles. They do license Star Wars, Hello Kitty, Disney characters. What we've done is created really compelling graphics that attract the customer, and then they see that there's a social cause behind it. So by them associating with us, they not only have a really cool product that they can sell, it sells for the same price as all of their other products, but they also have cause now and they're saving the rainforest. So every time, we all know why the rainforest is important. I don't want to get into specifics if that's not necessary. But what we do is we purchase the land. When we purchase the land, it has to be titled land so that we have an ownership to it.
Right.
The land has to be in pristine condition, meaning we only buy primary rainforest that has not been deforested. The land cannot already be in a protected area so that we're not protecting land that's already in a reserve or owned by indigenous people. And we have to have full rights to the land, meaning that we have the mining rights and the logging rights. A lot of times people buy land in third world countries like this, and then they will find out that they don't own the rights to the resources on the land. So we buy the land, we preserve the land, and then we associate the land using Google Earth maps with coordinates. So when you buy one of our bottles, and you take the redemption code, and you go into the site and you actually redeem your meter, you see exactly where you can save the meter on the Google Earth map. And so we became an interactive site where we created kind of an online community of people who are like-minded that are going to buy products based on their merits, but also buy products that are associated with a cause like what people are doing saving the rainforest. So believe it or not, to date, we've been in business for a little over a year. We have 70 licensing partners. Everything from a company called Sprouts, which makes a biodegradable watch, to a company called Fisher & Paykel, which makes home appliances. So we buy a Fisher & Paykel, a dishwasher, or washing machine, refrigerator, it actually comes with 20 square meters of rainforest. What's really powerful about this, customer buys a product, they save a meter of the rainforest, they create an account on Quipo, they see where their meters are. Right now we have Panama and Brazil, but our goal is to have land all over the tropics, land that we actually own, that we can preserve, and then we spread the word. So right now we have apparel products, Good, which is the largest manufacturer of plush animals in the world. It's actually doing all of our characters. We have about 14 characters. So what they'll do now is they'll make our animals in different sizes. Each comes with a little hang tag on it. When you buy it, you register your product. Now you're part of the community. But it also allows us to go back and say to them, guess what? You have no idea who's buying your product. You know that they're kids. You know that these are the geographies where you sell. You don't know who the individuals are. So what we've been able to do is create a way for a company to have a social cause, saving the rainforest, but also to get a significant benefit from that. So by registering your animal, now we can say, hey, by the way, in our newsletter, we've got new kids watches out, and they save the rainforest too. Or our Quipo bottles are out. So we're doing everything from phone cases to bags, to posters. The largest thing we signed is with a company called Nesco. Nesco is about a $3 billion company. It's the largest gift manufacturing company in the world. So we're doing coffee mugs. And again, every product is bought on its own merits. Nice design, people like the way it looks, it feels, it's very innovative. And then it also saves a meter of the rainforest. These are some of the companies that we're working with right now. And once the meters are saved, what we do in order to make people feel comfortable is we actually transfer the ownership to our 501c3 called 1 meter at a time, so that people know that in the future we're not going to become a warehouser or a very large lumber company, that the land is actually put in a foundation, and their goal is to preserve the land in perpetuity, and we fund that with the money that we make from the people. What I did here is I set it up so that everyone here can actually redeem a meter just by emailing redeem@quipo.net, and in the subject line just put in SEcon2013, and you're done. And you'll see exactly how the process works. You'll have a meter that you save, and you'll be part of our community. We'll keep up to date on what we're doing. But what I found now is that our model isn't going after an Apple or maybe a Hewlett Packard, although a lot of companies are looking for a way to incentivize their behavior. So we're working with Brother right now, which makes laser printers and printer recycle those. But they just want you to do that because it's a good thing to do. What we've done is created an incentive for people where they feel like they're getting a tangible product in return for good behavior. And the percentage of the value of a meter of the rainforest is much greater. So when we buy land in large quantities, we are in a position to continue to do this, replicate this around the world. That's pretty much it. So if you want to do the redemption,
Gotta do it.
there you go.
Gotta do it. Fantastic. Very exciting. I particularly like Tom the way that you are trying to encourage into being a community of people who are all doing this and figuring out. I mean, presumably, could I find out where your square meter is?
Yes, you can.
Excellent, excellent. And if I liked you, could I buy the one next to you? That sort of thing.
Well, you're not actually buying it.
I know. Sorry, I could save it. I could save it. Right.
No, well, you can't do that. But if you like, maybe we can figure a way to do it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, be a nice little kind of gifty thing, you know. Anyway, terrific. These are fantastic ideas. I tell you, I'm learning a lot.
And when I very first adopted, it was a different process. I could have children I wanted to adopt first, and I thought, gosh, what are mothers like? And I went through this, because I didn't have a baby growing inside of me, and I thought, what is it to be a mother? And I just thought long and hard about it, and I thought, well, I want to be like the mothers were back in the day. What were they like? And so I thought, well, you know what? The mothers always carried their babies, always. They were always close to them. So then I looked up, and I saw different types of carriers. This was back in end of 2003. And I saw a lot of carriers, but they just looked not, I don't know, not fashionable, not like I could wear them all the time. So I found a company out in Los Angeles called Rockin' Baby, and I was so excited. I bought my first sling from them. I flew to Kazakhstan with my sling. In fact, that was the very first present I got. I was very excited. I have no relation to this company at all. I just love the idea of being close to my baby, especially a baby that I was going to adopt and that I could be close to since I didn't carry him in my womb. So I brought my son Abel home in 2004, and I wore him in my sling, and then I had a baby 7 months later, and so then I had my toddler and my newborn. It just, whoever I wore, I just could continue to wear them because you could wear them up to 40 pounds. And so the trend continued for a few years that I have children, but the first 4 children, I wore my kids all the time. And it was so convenient. In fact, I didn't know how to do it any other way, because if I was to get out of the car and have 2 kids, I could just have one on me. It just was very convenient. And so I fell in love with the idea, and everyone always knew, there's Catherine, she always has a sling on, and then certainly more and more people are wearing them, but I never thought in a million years I would own the company. My husband owns a woodworking firm in Richmond. He does a lot of historic millwork. And I worked with him while I was raising my kids, and I just couldn't do that. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and running behind my husband, managing his cash and time was killing me. And so my mom, who's very, very successful in early childhood education, she is a very successful entrepreneur. We never talked about it, but it was just definitely in my blood also. And I remember, but I'm also very socially minded. So anything that I could do that could help things socially, I was always bent that way. But I also knew I was too much of an entrepreneur to want to just work for a nonprofit or just work for a cause. And I loved the idea of combining entrepreneurship as well as a social concept. So there you have a very popular company. Can someone tell me what that very popular company is? Tom Shoes, exactly. Tom Shoes. When I heard about the model, I heard about it right when he very first started. Blake Mikowski is the founder and CEO of Tom Shoes. And he started Tom Shoes. When someone buys a pair of shoes, he gives a pair of shoes. And he was featured in the LA Times, and he had 150 shoes, 2 interns in an apartment, and he had 10,000 orders overnight. And that helped him launch his business to a certain point, and then AT&T featured him in a commercial, and that is really what launched his business. It was him walking along a beach saying, I use my phone for my company called Tom's. And that apparently took him off the charts. They give, as of August of last year, they gave 60 million pair of shoes last year. The year before that was 32 million pair of shoes. The year before that was 14 million pair of shoes. I just knew he had given away 1 million pair of shoes when I thought of this idea. And I had seen their director of marketing, his name was Garrett, in this YouTube video that said, this company is not just about giving away shoes. This company is about empowering other businesses to be a one-for-one model. And I thought, oh gosh, that's fascinating. What could I do? Well, we're a cabinetry and a door and window business. I don't really know that you can sell a door and give a door. I don't know how many people are really out in the market for needing a window, or I don't know the social appeal of that. I thought, that really stinks. I'm just not really in a business that could work. And so I just tucked it away, and I just was fascinated by it. And then fast forward to August of 2010, getting really antsy, been working with my husband for 8 years, being behind the scenes saying, I am much more creative than this, and really wanting us to kind of separate in business a little bit. And we're looking for an opportunity. Rockin' Baby, as I had had 4 kids and used them, had sent an email, just a normal email newsletter, that said, guess what, Rockin' Baby is for sale. And I, within 2 minutes, had replied. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, it's for sale. I replied, tell me information, I'm so curious. And they emailed back, and there were 10 candidates who were interested in buying it from that email, and they chose me, which I was very thankful for. And I bought the business in January of 2011, and during the time from that October, when I put a contract on it, to January, I had the idea of, which I want to tell you actually this process. I had the idea first of sewing in Haiti, and the reason Haiti is I knew that they had a lot of they had sewing facilities. I knew that they had people who obviously needed jobs. I thought about being somehow combining a social aspect with this already successful retail wholesale business. And so I'm only telling you that as far as my journey goes in terms of you guys being students, that your first idea may not end up being your last idea. So I tucked away the Tom's model, didn't even think about it when I bought Rockin' Baby, but I pulled together people I knew in Haiti and said, okay, let's talk about the idea of me sending fabric to Haiti, them manufacturing slings and pouches, sending it back, and then I ship them. Well, I got literally through 15 minutes of the meeting, and I said, I'm sorry. I pulled together 4 people who had Haiti connections. And I said, that was the dumbest idea I have ever had. Because if there is medical supplies and water supplies on the tarmac not getting to people after the earthquake, why on earth would my slings and pouches get in the country and out of the country smoothly? Why would I not be paying an arm and a leg through corrupt customs to get the slings and pouches out? So in that meeting, I was super defeated, and then all of a sudden, the Tom's model came back in because someone said they don't carry their babies in Haiti. And I was floored. It has African roots. Why don't they carry their babies in Haiti with slings or some sort of carrier? Because the roads are rough. They walk miles for clean water. It's very difficult to live there. It's very difficult to take care of your family. So if they don't carry their babies in something, what do? So I learned more and more about it in this meeting. And the fact is they leave them at home. They leave them at home by themselves, newborn babies. They leave them by themselves. They leave them with younger siblings as young as 2 or 3 years old, or with neighbors, and they just cry and cry and cry because they need to be fed, but their mother is off needing to make money in order to get food for their family. You can't fault these women. They have to walk for this clean water. They have to take care of their family. But the babies die because they either are malnourished or they're fed cholera-induced water, with bad formula. I mean, it just is a vicious, vicious cycle. So in this meeting, all of a sudden, it went from being totally defeated to, are you kidding? This would be amazing. What if I did a 1-for-1 in Haiti? And then it would it's like in a matter of 2 weeks, I emailed all these midwives in Haiti who were doing work. And their responses were what fueled me, because I said, This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about the Tom Shoes model, and that when someone buys a sling from me, then I donate one. In Haiti, what are you thinking? And the response was crazy for me. It was, Catherine, you know you're going to change lives. Like, this is something that's going to change lives. And so the response was almost like, okay, I know, and now I have to do this. And so it was really empowering. So in terms of finding a social cause that you know that you're going to make a huge difference, and in the infant mortality rate in Haiti, that's what we're out to affect, that was an enormous cause that I could stay connected with. And I really wanted to stay connected because this business was very successful in LA. They're an international business. They were successful, and I was just going to take it to another level. And so when I told the owners that I'm going to buy it, I'm going to change to that, they said, this is going to be the golden touch. It's going to be great. Well, I moved the manufacturing to Richmond, Virginia. From Los Angeles, we manufacture in America. We're either in Southwest Virginia or Richmond, Virginia. And my product is, it's two. But immediately, when I bought the company, I cut off Sling. So it wasn't Rockin' Baby Sling. It was just Rockin' Baby, so that I could add products down the way. I obviously needed to understand how to manufacture. I needed to understand about fabrics. I needed to understand about how to do this business, period. And then I will start adding products. So I have an Act 2 and I have an Act 3 that I'm very excited about unveiling once I feel, which should be in the next several months, once I feel like we have our rhythm and we're definitely growing exponentially, which we are. And we can then add other products because we have more brand awareness. So we have, this is a ring sling here, and it's adjustable by the rings, and you put the baby in there. I have a mic on, or I would show you. And then this is a pouch, which has a pouch here, which is the same thing. It just doesn't have all the fabric, and it's adjustable to all sizes back here with these zippers. So it depends on, like, a man and a woman can share it. The man can have the solid side if he so wishes, and then she can have the fun side, and then you adjust it to what your size is. So they already had 168 accounts when I bought them, and basically I had to rebrand it, reintroduce it, and reintroduce the one-for-one model, which has been very well accepted. I would say 6 weeks ago, any indication in terms of how our awareness is taking off. We pushed and we pushed to get awareness, and 6 weeks ago we were at 1,200 likes on Facebook. We're approaching 3,000. In fact, one of you could be 3,000 if you go to the page today. And so but it's happening. We have like 100 likes a day. It's really been great in terms of awareness. We have a lot more people reaching out to us saying, oh, we would love to partner with you in this way. And you know, Tom's is all about being grassroots. And so we are, in terms of our future, really looking at taking that same approach to making sure that mothers come together and feel like this is a movement, mothers and fathers, but feel like this is a movement of how we're going to affect other mothers in Haiti. Right now, I have two other countries people who work in different parts of two different countries have said, we would love for you to do this in our country where we're working, but I am committed to at least 20,000 a year in Haiti, and then I will add a country, but I have to know that I can continue to supply them with what they need. So the orange hero sling here, which was kind of I really like this part of the rebranding, which is the orange with red rings, that any product we give away will be orange and red, so that it just brands the giveaway. And so when you see something, you know that that was part of Rockin' Baby. So really it is about brand awareness. It is about a movement. And the Tom's generation is, you know, and they're moving into the early 20s and older, but it's really great because we're seeing a lot of crossover of people who are all about Tom's shoes, and they're starting to have babies. So, you know, they totally get the idea and love it. So it is about a movement, and we are very excited. I'm very excited about making a difference, and just, you know, hope that it, if anything, you know, of course I don't know we'll be giving away 60 million slings, but that we can make enough difference that that you guys one day will say, oh yeah, Rockin' Baby, I know what they do. You know, it's really about brand awareness. And things like Us Weekly featured us last week as the top 15 celebrity baby pics. And they had a huge picture of Angelina Jolie, who had bought a couple of these on her own, and our orange hero sling. So it's really, that came out of nowhere. We just were emailed and said, oh, by the way, you were one of the top celebrity baby pics. So things like that will bring the awareness. And thank you so much.